Oh, crikey. Ooh, heave-ho. Right, blimey, you're out of shot. You're so big. I've had this quite a while. I've already shown you a similar one. This was nicknamed the Indestructible, and by golly, it is a, well, it would take a lot. Even those nasty channels that make pleasure in breaking things and destroying them, well, they probably already have tried to destroy one of these, and they would have made a good stab at destroying it, but I don't like to destroy, I like to create, which is far better. And I like to save and refurbish and cherish the old things from our lives. And this really is, oh, if I can, don't want to do me back in. I think this Hoover, oh yes, I was told about that. The handle bail's a bit doodah, a bit dodgy, so I should have picked it up like this really, supporting the bottom. Because although it looks in very, very good condition, and it looks slightly better than when I received it, I've given it a little bit of a polish. I haven't really properly used this. I got it, it was delivered, I got it, turned it on for a few minutes, if that, and then put it away. And I came across it recently when I was having a bit of a sort out, and I thought, it's high time you saw this. So you have seen something very similar to this before. This Hoover commercial, I believe it's the model U7008, is a direct descendant of the 912A that I've shown you. It is more or less the same. Two main differences. This particular version doesn't have a headlight. We just have this blanking piece where there would have been a headlight. And we also have a furniture guard, a really big riveted on, I think it's riveted, yes, riveted on furniture guard that wraps round completely. Look at that. You'd have to be going some to damage this machine. I mean, but then again, with the machine this heavy, you couldn't really whip round with it. This is a machine that I believe they used on the QE2, other ocean going liners. This would have been used in fancy hotels in London, in shops. In fact, I used an earlier version of this when I cleaned a shop. I worked in a shop from 9 to 6, but I started, I think, around 6 till 9. Actually, I was one of the cleaners. I had 2 jobs in the shop, so I cleaned the shop before I started my day job. And my responsibility was cleaning the toilets, which I didn't care for, but I did it, and I did it well. I even took in my own bleach. We weren't allowed to use bleach, health and safety nonsense, but I paid for my own bleach and used bleach in the toilets. And I was responsible for cleaning 2 floors of carpeting. And all that was supplied initially was a Premier Mini and then a Henry type machine. I thought, I'm not having that. I'm not breaking my back cleaning large areas of carpet. So I bought my first 912A. The one you've seen is not the first model I had. But I bought one of those in. I must have fitted it on my rucksack somehow. Maybe bought it in two goes, 2 trips. And I cleaned the carpets using one of these. And then I got a lighter weight Hoover Commercials Senior. I've shown you those on my channel. And then I ended up using that. There was no bother about PAT testing back in the day. They just the management just let me use it and thought, oh, he's bought his own vacuum in. So, yeah, much better for my back. Even as heavy as this, I mean, this is a beast of a cleaner, and we'll be switching her on. But first, I need to attach the belt because I slipped the belt off. We'll also have a quick look inside as well, because this hood, it's all metal, folks. Everything, it's metal. There's not a lot of plastic on this cleaner. Let's turn around and reveal her underbelly. Here she is. What an absolute monster this vacuum cleaner is. It's just, you can see metal, metal, metal. It really is an indestructible vacuum. Well, I'm not going to try and destroy it. Now, there are only 2 screws you have to undo to access the motor. And I believe this has probably got the suppressor in it. Capacitor, suppressor, call it what you will. But I'm going to leave it for now. I've actually bought 4 new Hoover suppressors. So obviously it makes sense to remove them on these old cleaners. We don't need them suppressor was designed to stop your vacuum cleaner interfering with TV and radio signals, but now it's all digital. It doesn't really matter. Some people say it does, but in some instances it's easier to swap out the suppressor. So I've got some genuine ones coming. Now these screws have two tiny washers, so I have to be careful not to lose. I should really get a magnetised doodah for my screwdriver. Right, hang on, don't lose it. I was surprised actually it still had these little washers. They're normally the first thing to get lost. Right, yeah, can you see the tiny little washers? So we need to keep those. Right, so yes, I might replace the suppressor in this. We'll see how it goes. I found 2 new wheels for this. I only looked at this closely yesterday after having this for well over a year. I can't remember when I got it. But I've noticed even these are very tough wheels. And there's a little chunk out of it there. The other one's okay. But I saw a seller on eBay selling 2 genuine wheels, so I thought I'll get them, make this even nicer. So let's have a quick look at the motor. I have looked at this and I gave it a little bit of a wipe, but it was in pretty good condition. I don't know if it's been refurbished or it's just had very little use. Oops. Here's the underside. So we've got this. This is probably extra insulation because this part here touches the top of the motor bearing, the top bearing, and we've also got an extra bit of plastic on the side there, and that nestles up next to the ticking time bomb known as the suppressor, or the thing that makes you soil your underwear. So, you know, you can't really tell by looking at it, but it doesn't look like it's going to go. You can tell more with those smaller ones, you know, those little oblong ones. You can see them cracking when you reveal them, when you take the motor cover off. But with these big barrel type suppressors, you know, you don't know when it's going to blow, folks. But I'm just going to leave it for now. Also, interestingly, we've still got the holder here for the dirt finder bulb, but you can't put a bulb in there because there are no, I can put my finger right through it, look. There's no connections, no electrical connections or the little metal contacts. So, but they've still left for some reason. There must be a reason for it because there are some wires going into it. It's being used for something. But anyway, no headlight on this. There is some sort of modern looking sealant, and also it says AK on the top of this bearing. So it's possible that this is a replacement motor bearing perhaps. But saying that, you know, I did wipe it a little bit. There was a little bit of dust inside here, but nothing much. This was pretty much how I found it. Oh, where's my cloth? I just sprayed this with some silicone beeswaxy stuff to really make the bumper nice and, well, matte. I suppose you could use that back to black stuff on this. But yeah, it looks very good. So yes, we've got the suppressor, we've got no bulb, but then it doesn't have a bulb. We've got this release doodah. So yes, the handle bail, I don't know. It's a very heavy base for the handle to support. So I wouldn't be surprised, a lot of these are probably worn. So we'll pop the hood back on. This is also a brand new replacement I found on eBay a while ago. It did have one on, and the one that was on it was obviously in very good condition, but it was a little bit gouged here, a little bit marked, and because I had this one I thought I'll put it on here. So I've got a spare that I can sell on if I don't need it for anything else. I probably won't. I've got 2 of these now. I've got the earlier version, not the earliest, but I've got the 912A and I've got the U7008 in this. So, you know, unless I can find the last version, which was a different colour. It was basically the same, but they'd changed. This was, I think, a brown colour, and the main body was cream, and it had an orange bag. But I assume that apart from the colour change, it was the same machine. This machine has stayed the same for many years. I'll just remove the agitator doodah. That took me ages to get back in, it was a bit tricky. We need to pop the screws back in. We'll slip the belt on. Hopefully, because I left the belt off, it'll be suitable still. And we'll look at the rating doodah, see if we can date it. Well, we should be able to date it, but I have had a look and I am a little bit unsure of the decade. So you can comment below. But I'm going to give a stab at the decade, because this van for many years, I believe the first one was actually launched in 1950. And from 1950 to the last production, I think in the 90s, not a lot changed. Because if it ain't broke, why fix it, they say. Yeah, now hang on, is that metal? Is it black metal or is it plastic? Sounds metal. I wonder if they did put a plastic fan blade in that on the latest version. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. I think it is. Still a metal doodah. That sounds smooth. Right, so I've screwed the doodah back on, the double. Here's the agitator, quite stiff brushes on that. They're not that long. I think this should be okay. The agitator just pulls, I won't do it now, but they're two clip things that pull up. Look, I'll show you. Oh, well, let's do it. Oh, let's do it. Well, that's easy. Look at that. So we need to locate them. So it's slightly different thread guards, end caps, to the, you know, the domestic seniors and rangers. So we can just put that in, and then if we flip these back, it'll lower back into position. Right, it's hard to see on the camera, but there is a little diagram here. You might just be able to see it now. So that indicates which way the belt goes round. So it's the long bit to the front, I think. Yeah, it's fairly, yeah, I think it's a fairly good belt on this. Is that correct? Always have to double check. Yes, it is. Right, so that's the belt running smoothly. And now we can pop this back. I had trouble getting this in yesterday. It's a bit of a knack to it. Oh, right, I think. Yeah, it's under there. That's under there. They're under there, and that pushes down. Oh, yeah. Don't know why it was. Oh, there we are. Right, had to push it. This bit here, this little doobry. Can you see it, folks? You see this little catch here? That has to go over that little tab that sticks out to ensure it's locked in place. We have a 3-position height control on this vacuum, but you need to turn it over or turn it on its side to adjust it. You need to pull this out, and then we can turn it round so it's on thick at the moment, which is what I will use it on this particular carpet. Then there's, I think that says normal, thick, normal, and thin. And there's another hole there. So I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think the wording has to be at the top, and that's upside down, but it says thin. And so then, so I suppose there are more than 3 settings, because you could put it in that setting, which, oh no, that setting is normal. So thin, normal, and then thick. That's right. Oh, it is on the top. So there are only 3 settings. We're going to leave it on thick for this particular demo on this particular carpet. Before I switch this beast on, we'll have a quick look at the rating sticker. This is Hoover model U7008, 240 volts, 50 hertz, 325 watts. It's double insulated. The serial number is U7008 901 trademarks of Hoover plc, made by Hoover plc, Great Britain. We've got the number 9 after the model number, which is either 79, 89 or 99. It's not 99, because I'm sure probably by 1999 this cleaner was discontinued, and even in the early 90s when it was still available, it would have been in the cream, orange and brown colour. So we can rule out 99. 79, I don't know. 79, it might have been Hoover Limited. Hoover PLC. I'm going to take a stab, folks, at 1989 for this particular model. If I'm wrong, I'm sure you can comment below and put me right. Yes, there's definitely a weakness in the handle bail. That seems to have got worse, actually, since I polished it. So, yeah, I don't need to press on the handle release button. I just have to be careful when carrying this upstairs, although I would have to be careful anyway. I think it's about 15 kilograms, so yeah. I will press it though, just so I'm not putting anything under strain like myself. It's got quite a modern handle on it, but I think this is all original. I do have, amazingly, a replacement handle, brand new, and of course this has got a fitted plug. So is it 1999? Or is this a replacement cable? I don't know. But the replacement handle that I've got, genuine Hoover one in a Hoover box, does have a fitted plug similar to that on it. So no turn down top hook. These are metal hooks. I mean, a plastic one wouldn't last 2 minutes in a commercial environment, would it? There's so many Hoover uprights I've got with broken plastic hooks, but this still has the metal hook, and it'll have a pretty long cable on it as well, certainly longer than a domestic machine. I don't remember polishing this. I don't know if this has been waxed by somebody else. There's some wax polish residue on there. This is a shakeout bag, folks. There's probably a way I can convert it to take dust bags, but I'm not sure I'll bother. So to empty this, I think we'd have to unhook it. I can't remember if the one I used at work had a bag in it. I don't think it did. Certainly the lighter one that I bought in did take bags, but I think my 912A that I used before, I hadn't converted it to take a dust bag. So to empty this bag, I think we just have to remove it from the cleaner first, and this will have been cleaned out, I expect, before I got it. So yeah, I assume we take the whole bag out like this, and probably the best way of emptying it would be to slide the clip off the top, open it out. That's being vacuumed out, isn't it? And maybe tip it out that way, possibly. I do have, again, I've got quite a few spares for this. I've got some genuine bags for this. It might be the later, I don't know if it's got the roundel or it's the later one. I think it might say Hoover Heavy Duty on it or Hoover Commercial. So yeah, it's what they call a shakeout bag, so it's really going back in time. But used in a commercial environment, this was never sold to be used in the home. So used in a commercial environment to save on money, you know, the people that had to buy these, they didn't want to be having to fork out for bags. Obviously they had to buy belts from time to time and maybe brushes, but they didn't want the expensive bags, so it was up to the poor souls that used to use these to take them outside and shake them out. Can you imagine the mess? Right, so we need to locate that there. Make sure it's locked in position, and then hook the bag spring. I've never known what this extra bit of string is for. I'm not sure. What purpose is the string? Please tell me. But I'm going to hook the string over the hook as well, and the little the top of the spring. So that's very flexible. We do have a hand operated on-off switch. Again, I've got a spare one of those in case, and it's the same switch used on the convertible, the UK convertible, Dial-O-Matic in the US. Also on the Constellation, on the Hoover Portable, even on the earliest Porter Power, they use this toggle switch. So they got their money's worth from the switch manufacturer, unless Hoover made them themselves. They might have done. They might have made those. Right, you want to see this going. I can't remember if it's what it was like, but I'm sure it did work. Let's plug in and switch on. I can't remember what this was like when I plugged it in when I initially got it and switched it on, but I'm sure it sounded as it should. I seem to remember being pretty happy with this, so hopefully all the time in storage, but most of the time I think it's either been under my bed or in the back of my wardrobe. It's never been stored in a garage or a loft or my storage unit. It's always been in my bedroom. Strange bedfellows. Right, let's plug in. I think that's in the off position. It is. I wonder how it's going to cope with my plush pile. What a load of absolute junk. This is going straight to the tip tomorrow. I'd much rather use my Dyson V15 Detect. Right, okay, thanks for watching. I'll be off. You didn't think I was being serious, did you? Yes, the Dyson V15 Detect may be a lot lighter and easier to use than this Hoover commercial upright. But I know which one I'd have. Yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky whipping round before the vicar comes for tea. Wow, it's a beast. This is a machine. Well, you can't use it quickly. This is not a quick, you know, quick back and forth, it's done. This is a cleaner that you have to savour. You have to, dare I say it, worship, although you shouldn't be worshipping objects. It needs dignity, it needs respect, it needs to be revered, because this, despite it's got a dodgy doodah, it's a beast. You have to go slow. It's almost like meditating. That deep growl of the motor, the beating action, the brushes. There was a little bit of dirt left over from my Simplicity demo. You saw it picking up some pet hair and some other debris, making noise on the fan. So I think it is a metal fan, sounded metal, when it was picking up those lentils and rice. So it's not so good. I think it took a while to get the pet hairs up, but I don't suppose, unless this was used at Battersea Dogs Home, I don't think there'd be many pet hairs to clean up on the QE2. Was it? I don't know. I think there were Hoover vacuums on the Titanic, not this one, but yes, they went down with the Titanic. I'm afraid they'll all be rusted away. I don't know if they ever retrieved any from the wreck, did they? I'm pretty sure they had Hoover uprights back then. I can't remember when the Titanic sank, but yeah, I do like this cleaner. I'm sure if you're still watching, you like it too. I'm going to bring in a thinner rug and spread down some dirt, and we'll just see how effective it is at beating and sweeping. it's okay, I suppose. Another run-of-the-mill crappy old Hoover. It's only fit for the skip, really, or the tip. What a load of rubbish. I'm only joking. Yeah, it's a nice machine. It's not practical. Bless its heart. It's not a practical machine to use in my home. If I had a mansion, yeah, I can see myself using it, although I would have to get a HEPA bag fitted somehow, because I think I'm going to be doing a lot of dusting after this video, but not with a microfiber cloth. No, I'll dust the modern way with a vacuum and a dusting brush, but it'll have to be a high filtration one. Got a few SIBOs out. I do have my Henry Clean Air, but I've just washed his hoses out, so they're all wet, because I've actually used Henry Clean Air last week for plaster dust, and he coped with it fine. Hardly any of it, I don't think any of it got through the bag, and certainly not to the HEPA filter on Henry Clean Air. But don't use your regular vac for plaster dust, especially not your little cordless machine. And I wouldn't use this for plaster dust either, because you'll be breathing a lot of it in. And back in the day, there'd have been asbestos around when this machine was first launched. They put asbestos in loads of stuff. It was a fire retardant. My mother even had an ironing board with an asbestos stand for the iron. And we had asbestos at school. Oh, it's all coming back. With the Bunsen burner, they were on asbestos mats. Oh dear. So this is from an era long ago, long past. But I'd be happy to use this in a commercial environment, but obviously the filtration would need upgrading. But you don't get stuff made like this anymore. You just do not get robust quality machines. Even the commercial machines you get now, they won't match the durability and, oh, I don't know, sheer beastiness, if that's a word, of this Hoover U7008 Indestructible commercial upright. I hope you've enjoyed watching this machine in action. I will finish off the video by clearing up what it's spilt out. It's picked everything up off this rug. It's absolutely spotless, but some of the particles have sort of scattered. So I'll pick the rug up, finish the video with this machine, grooming my deep pile Saxony. It's not a daily driver. It's not one I'm going to get out often, to be honest. But it is a welcome addition to my Hoover collection, and one that will not be culled when I do my cull coming up, when I get rid of quite a few vacuums. I've got over 500, you know, can't believe it. So I will get rid of some bit by bit, but the older Hoovers are ones that are going to stay with me for quite a few more years yet, fingers crossed. If you've any comments or questions about this behemoth of a vacuum cleaner, please comment below, and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Bye for now.